While we patiently wait for EB01 and OP06 to come at our doorstep, the official socials account of the One Piece card game have been drip marketing OP07 all throughout these last week. So today I want to take a little bit of time to go over all the leaders, what they do and my thoughts on them, as well as their alternate art version. Hello everyone and welcome to Anything Geek. My name is Zero, and as always with any set, there are some leaders that I find very interesting to play and have a good effect, and there are others that I just don't. But hey, they have a cool alternate art, so that's always nice. And we're of course gonna go in order of colors, so we start with Monkey D. Dragon. And I was really hyped originally to have a dragon leader because I thought that he would be something fresh, something we haven't seen, something original, and the effect is just not the case. Basically on this leader we have an activate main. Once per turn you can give up to a total of 2 of your currently attached Don to one of your character. And don't get me wrong, the effect seems very potent because you can swap around the deck that you have already given to attack this turn, and so you can use more than what you have, but I feel it's a bit too simple for a character such as Dragon. I really like the alternate though. They went back to the OP04 style with one character in the front and all his context sort of in the back, and God know I wish I pulled that VV at that time, but sadly I didn't, so yeah. The second leader that we have is gonna be Jewelry Bonnie. She's a supernova and Bonnie pirate, and her effect is on an opponent's attack. Once per turn for a cost of 1, you can rest up to one of your opponent's leader or character. Now this is an effect that I feel is very bonkers. You can prevent your opponent to attack with his full board, and you get some shenanigans that you can do depending on which character he attacks with first and if he already placed a new character on the board. That's very strong and very interesting to play, and so far both leader, I didn't mention, both leader are solid colors with 5 lives, so you have all your options already over there. I really feel Dragon is lacking something to be very interesting. It's too simple for me, but Bonnie, clearly the effect can allow for very good play in the game, very strategic one, and more than that, the alternate art hit right in the feels, because if you've caught up with Egghead, you know, that's a very cool card, and for one, that's a card that I will be very glad to have in my collection. Next leader we're gonna have is gonna be Boa Hancock from the 7 Warlords and Kuja Pirate, and her effect is during your turn, once per turn, you may activate this when a character leaves prey from one of your ability. If you have 5 or less cards in your hand, you can draw a card. Also note she's a solid color leader. Again, that's very cool because lately we only had like dual color leader with 4 life, and I for one am the one that believe that we still need monocolor leaders. But anyway, her effect is very good because you're playing blue, so of course you're gonna have a lot of board control, so lots of occasion of basically activating her effect. Also, again, I say this enough on this channel, you must know this by now, it's a draw card. It's something you can draw cards using that effect, so of course it's very good, you need that. And the fact that you can kind of self-activate that effect whenever you want is also very good because you can plan the build of your deck to be able to remove something every turn and thus get a draw from your deck every turn, or at least an additional draw from your deck. This leader could be very good at the competitive level. We've seen leader with less effective effects get some spotlights in some tournaments, so really I don't see any reason why this Boa Hancock wouldn't be a very good leader meta-wise. But if you're planning on chasing this leader for the alternate art, remember that she's got a waifu tax. Especially since this specific alternate art is, to me at least, very cool. You got Boa up and center with her snake and her sisters in the back, and the angle at which you are up front of Boa Hancock sitting is just, damn. So of course, if you draw this yourself in your box when you buy OP07, that's all good. But if you need to buy this on the secondary market, it's gonna be pricey, I think. But hey, if you found this video interesting or useful at the very least, please remember to leave a like and maybe consider subscribing to the channel. We talk about anything geek, from board games to video game, books, mangas, animes and all that good stuff. So if that's your jam, you're in the right place. And also, the more the merrier. So if you got some geeky friends, make sure to share this channel with them. But for now, let's go back to the alternate art leader from OP07. And the next leader that we have is gonna be for purple. It's gonna be Foxy of the Foxy Pirate. And the very first thing that I need to say about this leader is that's a just there. What the? His effect is going to be an on-attack effect with a down -3, so you have to take back 3 downs, but it's going to be worth it because if you have 3 or more Foxy Pirate characters in play, you can choose up to one of your opponent's rested leader and characters, and the card you choose will not become active during their owner's next refresh phase. That is a very good effect. That is very original. That is using some effect that we kind of have in green with Doflamingo, I believe, with some of his cards like Sugar and the Birdcage, which was very interesting cards when they added that, and it added a ton of layers of strategy to his play, and it's changing the way we see how we play and how we plan the plays in our deck, and that's something that I personally like. And now, of course, I'm joking about his dagger being his pants right up front, but I think the art is actually very nice because you have him like with his big grin on his face. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's done with that dagger. So that's very on point with the character from the manga, and you also have his crew in the back, of course, with some very festive design all around. It's a very interesting leader, effect-wise and mechanically wise, and the alternate art is also kind of funny. So yeah, that's something good for me. Just remember, don't hate the dagger, okay? And on a very polar opposite, we have Rob Lucci from the CP0, this time, not CP9, and had effect that when attacking you may trash the 2 top cards of your deck and give up to one of your opponent's character -1 cost for this turn. And I mean, Rob Lucci as a character I found was kind of interesting and kind of, let's say badass. I felt he was badass in the manga when I got to the CP9 chapters, but other than that, not that much. It's just a very sad, edgy boy that that happened to have a cool fruit, because I mean, tigers and cats are very popular, so of course he's gonna be popular with also all his seriousness and very like resting face all the time. But I don't feel that this is an interesting character, and when I look at the effect of this card, I see just the same. You only get a -1 cost for one of your opponent's character, so that's very light. I mean, it's still useful, especially in black, but that's still just a -1. You do not get a KO with that leader if you use that -1. You need to have it other ways, and you need to trash the 2 top cards of your deck for that. So you're gonna need to build in the Necro style deck where you can recycle the trash, but you need to do that in CP0. So for instance, the 7 cost Luffy that was very potent in Dressrosa arcs, that's not something that you can go for. So overall, no, I'm not interested by that leader. I'm not interested in the character, and I'm not interested in his effect. And we also already have a Rob Lucci leader. Why not left that spot to another character that would be more interesting to play? I'm sorry for everybody who likes Lucci as a character and who liked that art and that specific leader. I just don't. Sorry. And the last leader of the set, of course, we knew this leader was coming because of the super rare Lilith that I talked about in my previous video about OP07. That's of course Vegapunk, and first off, I'm very hyped for that leader because it's again one of those leaders that cannot attack, so you're sure that when you cannot attack you can do some pretty interesting stuff. And what he does is he has an activate main. Once per turn you need to pay 1 Don. You can place up to 1 cost 5 or less cards with the egghead type from your hand face up on top of your life or into play. So for 1 you can play 5 costs, or for 1 you can get 1 life back, possibly with a trigger. Now, of course, we need to know what is going to be in the egghead type, but that's already something that is very interesting because you can then strategize something with the triggers that you put in your life, or you can strategize that you can at least throw out 1 5-cost cards on the board each turn, or when you're in a pinch you can throw out 2 5-costs, maybe because you're at 6 you can throw out 1 5-cost and a second one. So that is very interesting mechanically wise for the game, for how you're gonna play and how you're gonna build. From a building standpoint, building the deck is gonna be interesting with that card because you can open up your mind, and as long as the card that you play have a 5-cost and the egghead type, you know you can play this, and next you can see how these cards can interact with all other stuff, maybe with some on-play effects or when attacking or stuff like that. And so it is gonna be very interesting. Not only that, but also since this is Vegapunk, you got all his other Stellas around him, and so that makes this card very cool to look at as well. A very cool looking leader and a very cool effect for actually a character that we haven't got in the story for like 25 plus years, and now he's got one of the coolest alternate art leader in the game with an effect that is very interesting to play and that is probably gonna be meta. Very cool design, very cool effect. Can't wait to play this. Of course, I'm not sure that I'm gonna get any because alternate art leader, I tend to not pull them from my box, but we'll see when we open those boxes on the channel, which is not gonna be for a long time actually, because OP07 is not coming out until at least June this year. So yeah, that's a long wait for those cards. Lucky for us, there is a set coming out next month, which is OP06 Wings of the Captain. If you want to know more about this set, check out this video next.